So hello and welcome to the Group 2's presentation on our myth-busting Corona chatbot. This is by Lee Donovan, Andrew Syme, Charlie Murray, Jimmy Mann, Sad Badshah and Sebastian Zajko. So with COVID-19 in the news, it's often difficult to determine whether the stories you hear are true or false. This unclear information data can cause problems for dealing with COVID. Because of this, our goal is to develop a system which provides accurate, up-to-date information about various myths and tries to persuade the user that these myths may or may not be true. So there is already a chatbot developed using Alana and Raza, which provides information to the user. So our goal here is to attempt to improve on this existing chatbot. So we have assigned the roles for this project based on the different subsystems that need to be developed. We got Charlie and Sad on the natural language understanding, me and Andrew, I'm Lee, by the way, on the dialogue manager. Natural language generation is by Jimmy and Sebastian, and I am the organizational manager also. Unfortunately, Sebastian has been absent for this part of the coursework, so we may need to reallocate roles in the near future. And then towards the end of the project, we'll be coming back together as a group to work on integrating our components and writing the reports.
So in this project, we aim to provide our users with accurate and up-to-date information regarding COVID-19, as well as persuading our users that a myth they may have heard is not true. We also aim to provide support for various COVID-related topics. Our research question for our project is how effective our chatbot is in persuading users regarding COVID-19 myths in comparison to the current CoronaBot implementation.
So there are already a variety of COVID-19 chatbots, including health screening chatbots and more information and fact-based chatbots, such as Jennifer and the CoronaBot, which we are basing our project off of. These provide information and sources about COVID-19, such as infections, transmissions, and general queries. The health screening bots, which are used to ask people questions about COVID-19 to automatically screen out people rather than having to have a person do it manually. However, none of these chatbots that exist try to persuade users about myths surrounding COVID-19 beyond just providing facts and sources. So on the NLU topic, our project will be based on raza, which provides good language understanding by breaking sentences down into intents and entities, otherwise known as key data points. These intents and entities can then be passed to the DM and NLG parts of the chatbot to create responses. This NLU system can be trained using example pairs of inputs and intents or entities, meaning that it isn't necessary to hard code all the possible inputs the user could give beforehand. Once an NLU system is created, it may be necessary to test it, which raza provides in the form of validation, rather than having to do it manually. However, a more general language understanding framework might be used, such as Glue, which provides, again, a more general language evaluation, which could be useful in the persuasion aspects of the chatbot. And then, as well as raza, other language models could be used, such as UniLM, which was proposed a couple of years ago. It's a pre-trained network model which is used for improved summarization of language for use in chatbots and can be applied to both NLU and NLG systems.
For the dialogue management section, there's a Raza Core is a dialogue management solution that's built into Raza. It uses machine learning to pick a response rather than using state machines or frames like some other dialogue managers do. So this allows it to be more flexible and allow mixed initiative conversation. Also, there is another dialogue manager called Ravenclaw, which is used in the Olympus framework, which was created at Carnegie Mellon University. It seems to provide most of the same functionality as Raza Core, but we're going to be focusing on Raza Core for this project.
So for NLG, there's a few things such as text-to-text generation, which does things such as translation, summarization, spell checking, and grammar. And then there is robojournalism, which is an example of data-to-text generation, and that does stuff such as weather reporting and wildlife tracking. And for NLG, there are 6 subproblems we've identified, which begins with which info to include, which order of information, which info in which sentence, finding the appropriate words to express the info, choosing the words to identify domain objects, and combining words into sentences.
Persuasion is key to our chatbot, and we want to be able to persuade our users that the myths they may have heard aren't true. Persuasion dialogue is defined as one where the goal of the dialogue is to resolve a conflict between 2 opposing views. We will do this by providing evidence to counter the myths, as well as questioning the reliability of the myth's origin. An important aspect in Persuasion is the perceived identity of the chatbot. The chatbot's quality is highly correlated with its effectiveness. The more human-like behavior, the better. Therefore, it is important to maintain coherence and ensure that the chatbot is engaging with the user in a clear manner.
So these are some of the dialogues examples that were carried out with the current bot that we're going to be building upon. To test the persuasion level it has to persuade the user. As seen in the chats, the bot is not very persuasive. It gives good information regarding a myth, but it's not trying to persuade the user. It doesn't provide enough evidence on why the myth is not true, such as articles or peer-reviewed articles. Next. This is the updated version and the version of bot that we are trying to achieve. This bot uses evidence-based persuasion in dialogue to try to persuade the user. It provides different articles related to the myth, which include why the myth is not true. And all the articles that are going to be provided to the user are going to be from trusted sources, such as BBC and public health. Next. In this dialogue example, the bot uses another persuasive technique, which is reliability of the source. This is similar to the evidence-based, but it's focused more on the source of the reliability of the source the user got the information from. In this dialogue, the bot asks the user where they came to know about the myth, and then try to persuade the user by providing different studies on the fake information that can be found on the platform that the user found information on to persuade the user.
So these are the components used in our system. Users will communicate with the bot through a messenger app, Telegram, and no speech recognition or text-to-speech will be included. The 3 subsystems will be made using raza, where the DM will use an information state update model, and NLG will use generated models and pre-mid responses. To get up-to-date information, we will use reliable websites such as NIDirect and fullfact.org. There will also be potential Alana integration in later stages of our system. This is a visual representation of our system components. Text and responses are sent through Telegram, and the 3 main systems made with raza interact as shown in the diagram, and the dialog manager is linked to the backend.
This bot will be developed using raza as the main tool. NLU, NLG, and the dialogue management will be done using raza. We chose raza as the main tool to develop this bot compared to other tools like Farhat, is because raza has the NLU and dialogue management raza core in one place, rather than using different tools to implement the dialogue management. It's also dialogue, text-to-text based tool, which is the interface we are looking for to integrate with Telegram. Alana is a service like Amazon Alexa, developed by Harriet Watt. It has an ensemble of different bots which are used to interact with the user. Alana might be used in a later part of the project as pipeline for the bot. The use of Alana is optional and will be decided later if we want to incorporate our bot into Alana.
So this is our Gantt chart here. So you can see we've split the project into 3 main sections. The first being the planning section, which we're in currently, then the development section, and then the report writing and wrapping up section. The NLU, NLG, and DM sections are split among group members, as we described in the previous roles slide, and all the other tasks will be group efforts, with everyone working on it together. We've tried to give ourselves ample time to develop each subsystem. So you can see we've got about 2 weeks for system evaluation and 1 week for integrating the components. This allows us to extend the NLU and NLG development into late March if is needed. And we're also having at least 2 meetings a week.
In order to evaluate our chatbot, we will both be looking at the quality of the bot itself and evaluating how persuasive our chatbot is. We'll be evaluating our chatbot components internally, where NLG shall be evaluated by checking our output is both logically and syntactically valid. DM will be evaluated by checking whether the chosen response is in context with our chat. NLU will be evaluated by checking whether the intent from the user's input matches the meaning. Our agent will be evaluated according to 2 different metrics: coarse-grained metrics, where we will be checking the appropriateness of our agent along with human likeness. Our other metric will be fine-grained, where we'll be checking that the chatbot is staying on topic. We will do this by splitting participants up into 2 different groups, one using the old CoronaBot and one using our updated CoronaBot implementation. Once participants are finished with the chatbots, we will give them a questionnaire to try and gauge the bot's effectiveness, and we will also be recording the number of interactions with each user, as well as the chat length time. This slide shows our preliminary questionnaire. The coarse-grained metrics will relate to the clarity of responses and how engaging the user found the experience. The fine-grained metrics will relate to how easy the information was to find and how coherent the chatbot was. Persuasion will be measured by asking the users how convincing they found the chatbot. We will also be seeking any suggestions the users may have relating to the chatbot.
And the final slide is just our references. So thank you for listening to our presentation. If you have any questions, we'll be here on Monday to answer them. Cheers.